Once I was 7 years old, my mama told me, go make yourself some friends or you'll be lonely. Once I was 7 years old. It was a big...
I basically started at 15 years old, so to tell my age, I've been in it 41 years. I really grew up in a business. My dad was a friend of a horseman, and I stopped by the barn a few times, and I like sports, so I just started hanging around the horses, jogging and training them and cleaning stalls, and that's how I got into business, but nobody in my family was in the business. I started out in Vernon Downs. It was upstate New York. That's where I lived near there. I went to Maryland. I've been in Ohio, New Jersey, New York. I've been to Canada to race, driving mostly. Been to Sweden. I flew there to race. So mostly, and then of course Pennsylvania for the last 17 years. And Florida's my home base. I forgot about my home base. Been there 32 years.
Something about that glory just always seem to bore me, 'cause only those I really love will ever really know me. Once I was 20 years old, my story got told before the morning sun when life was lonely. Once I was 20 years.
Quite a few changes. 40 years is a long time, but it was a great sport from the get-go, and it still is a great sport. Speed has become so prevalent now. It wasn't like that before, but people still love the horses. Racing's still great. There's a lot of young drivers up and coming, and now I'll be using some of them. Right here at Pocono Downs, you have Anthony Napolitano, Jim Rohn Jr., you have Andrew McCarthy, still fairly young, but then you have your basic Matt Cayley, still young. Doesn't seem it because he's been driving for a while. He's still good, and George E. Knapp and them, but there's plenty to use, and I'll look at it as more like a team sport now. I kind of look at it that way. Now I did it all myself, and now I can team up with drivers and hopefully make it fun and profitable that way. I had some good horses in my barn as far as the ones I train. I usually keep somewhere around 20. Right now we're down to about 18 horses, but then I buy usually yearlings at the end of the year, but I usually keep around 20.
I'm still learning about life. My woman brought children for me, so I can sing them all my songs and I can tell them stories. Most of my boys are with me, some are still out seeking glory, and some I had to leave behind. My brother, I'm still sorry, soon I'll be 60 years old.
Well, you always have injuries when you're in any kind of sport, but horse racing in general, whether it's harness racing or thoroughbreds, the accidents can be very dangerous because there's animals involved in high speeds and you hit the ground. My most serious accident was about 10 years with the Meadowlands. I was unconscious for a while. I was rushed to Hackensack Medical Trauma Unit, and probably lucky I was there, or I may not be alive. And I had head injury and brain injury and trauma, and I was there for a couple of days. I still remember 3 days of that. My life changed drastically after that. I was just married recently. My wife had to put up with a lot for a year or so to get me back on my feet. It was 9 months before I could drive a car or really get on a horse, and I was told never to drive again then. Against my neurologist and my doctor's orders, we've come to a common goal about a year after I was going to do it, and it's been 10 years since, and if I got another concussion, it would probably be the end. And unfortunately, about a month and a half ago, I was flipped out at Pocono Downs and hit the back of my head. Thank God it wasn't a serious concussion, a mild concussion, but they said that was in my best interest, should be my last time I drive. So I didn't want to go out that way. I was planning on next year or so to quietly retire from driving, but I have a 5.5-year-old son, a beautiful wife, and a nice life, so I have to put things in perspective driving. And I was always at the beck and call of the trainers. I have to be here. Like now, I'm leaving for Florida Thursday morning for 5 days to see my family. I couldn't do that before because I had to be back here to drive. You have 10 or 12 horses, and you really can't leave if your drive is out of competition for your drive. So that is the good part. I can make my schedule. I have good employees, good help. So, but I'm getting okay with it day by day. See my family, and I know that my pain in my neck and my pain in my head are still there, and my body's not what it used to be. So the pain factor every day, I don't have a day without pain in my neck area. So that kind of reminds me, and it's time. Every athlete has to move on and it comes full circle.
Something about that glory just always seem to bore me, 'cause only those I really love will ever really know me. Once I was 20 years old, my story got told before the morning sun when life was lonely.